Hello, friends. Welcome back to Stylist Soul Tribe Conversations. I am joined today by Emily Carpenter. Emily has been a member of Soul Tribe for a little over 2 years now.
Yep.
Right? It was early 2024, I think, when you joined.
Yep. Almost 2.5 years.
And sorry, say that again.
Almost 2.5 years.
Yeah, almost 2.5. It is crazy that we're already into like the near the middle of 2026. That is wild. I've been begging Emily to come on the podcast for a few months now. So she's going to share her story. She is the creator of a really, really, really cool new business idea called Stay Hair Solutions. But before we get into that, I want Emily to introduce herself, tell you guys a little bit about her story, her business behind the chair, how she started specializing, and how that led to her big magic idea, which we're going to talk about today. So, Emily, go ahead and take it away. Take us back to whatever feels appropriate to you, where all of this started. If you want to start with when you got into the industry, if you want to start with when you started in your studio, whatever feels right for you. Let's start to unpack, and then I'll interrupt you 1,000 times and we'll just flow from there.
All right. Thanks for having me. I've been in the industry for about 22 years now. I've done it all from commission to booth rent. And during COVID, I was trying to figure out what's next. Salons were shut down, and I had been searching for a space. Not really sure what kind of space, but I was looking for some type of salon space. Not sure how
Because
big.
pre-COVID, you were where?
I was renting a chair
In a large
pre-COVID.
salon?
6 girls in
Okay.
there at a time, different schedules, so not always at the same time, but it was a very tight spot, minimal storage space, amongst other things. I would usually leave there and I would just need to decompress because it
Yeah.
was just too much going on.
Mm-hmm.
But it, served the chapter while I was there. So I kept looking and heard a lot of no's. Not too many places want to have a salon.
Yeah.
And when the salons are shut down, I approached an office owner
Yeah.
in an office space and said, "Hey, what do you think about having a salon in your space?"
How did
And
you find this office space? Were they listed online? Did you just drive by?
I did all the things. I went
Okay.
on commercial sites. I talked to a real estate agent. I'm in a very small town, so it's not super accessible for a smaller commercial space.
Yeah.
So this one I had driven by and I happened to see on Facebook Marketplace. So
Mm-hmm.
I reached out for a different, smaller space in this particular building. And
Yeah.
when I went to go look at it, it wasn't going to work out. So he, of course, was like, "Oh, I've got a bigger space downstairs." But of course, that comes with a higher price tag, more
Yeah.
space. So I was like, "Oh, I don't know." But I looked at it and fell in love. So, I convinced him to let me transform his office suite
Awesome.
to a salon suite. I, kind of gave my vision of what I had in mind. And he's very much a businessman. So he was like, "Oh, all right, you can have a stylist here and a stylist there." And I was like, "No, no, I want private
Just
space,
me. Yeah.
one on one."
How many
And
square
it
feet do
was
you have?
it's like 650.
Okay. So, I
Definitely
mean, good
more
size,
than
bigger than a
needed,
suite. Yeah. Bigger than
for
like a
sure.
Sola. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely bigger than a Sola with a smaller price tag.
Amazing.
So it was a win-win. I mean, little challenges here and there with plumbing and stuff because it is an office space compared to an outfitted salon suite
Yeah.
set up inside like a Sola, but we made it work and now I've got room to stretch out. And when clients walked in, once I built it out while we were shut down,
Yeah. Post
and
COVID.
once we were finally able to reopen and clients came in, it was perfect
Oh,
because you could only be one on one with everybody anyway.
yeah.
And then they realized that this could be an option. They're like, "Wait a minute, we don't have to be in the hustle and bustle of all the drama in all the
Yeah.
salons." And even for myself, I didn't leave here needing to completely decompress. I
Yeah.
felt good leaving here.
I love
So
that. That's incredible. So that was around 2021 or that was 2020?
that was 2020. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I know some states were shut down much longer. I know California was shut down for like 2 years, damn near. And our friends up in Canada, same thing, couldn't work for forever. So 2020, you opened this beautiful private studio that you have in this office space. My salon setup is very similar as well. My best friend that I work with, Riley, we started in one space that was kind of a converted office space, and we've moved a couple doors down to downsize, and we're in the same thing. Like it's the offices around us, and we just have a little studio inside of there, and our landlord's great, and it's like the privacy of a studio suite like Sola's Phoenix's My Salon Suites. But yeah, our rent is also very, very affordable. We're also in a small town, so I know that that's a big part of it. I love it. Like I love that setup, and I know a lot of people in Soul Tribe. I remember when you were first introducing yourself and like giving a tour. Like I remember numerous people being like, "I want what Emily Carpenter has." So yeah, it's not something that is like super easy to just rinse and repeat. It's not like you're like, oh, find the local whatever to search. But I think what you're saying is just look for some commercial lease options in office spaces and consider that an option if you've never considered it. If you've been searching and searching for somewhere, it's definitely something for people to think about. And like you said, it took a little bit of convincing, but I'm sure that landlord, now that you've been there for 6 years, he probably is like, that was energy well spent. Now, I'm going to tangent on this just because I'm thinking of this might be relevant for the people listening. With build out, was that mostly on you? Did he take care of some of that, or how did build out look in an office space?
It was definitely a split of sorts because he did have some commercial builders, contractors that he was adamant on using.
Yeah.
So I had to use them and he would split some of it with me. Like I was on hook for plumbing. It was carpet in here, like the old carpet squares that were
Uh-huh.
stained. So that needed to be changed out anyway. So he
Yeah.
did
Basically things that
help
were going to
eat
stay
some
with
of
it when
that.
you left. Yeah.
Yeah. So it we worked together to
Cool.
kind of split some of the costs.
Yeah, that could
So
happen in negotiations for sure. Cool. Love that.
yes.
Amazing, amazing. So, when did you start dipping your toes in hair loss solutions, and what did that process look like? I would love to hear that from you.
So it started out, I was helping some clients buy some online and I didn't carry any myself. I was just
Hmm.
helping them order from these random
And these were
sites
just
or
clients that were
Amazon
coming
or
in that didn't like their thin hair. Was it toppers back then? Was it halos? What kind of solutions were you helping people find?
a mixture of anything,
Okay.
anything that they needed coverage wise. And they'd show me something. They're like, what do you think? And I was like, well, let's order it and see. And
Yeah.
they were they were okay. They were
Hmm.
doing the job, but they really weren't great.
Yeah.
They weren't even with me trying to help them color match because that's more so what they were coming to me for. It was not a perfect match by any means. It just was like a band-aid on the
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah.
So I
When
started doing some
you,
research.
what year did you start dabbling in this?
I mean, I've been offering the service for many years, even before moving here, but then the private suite, people felt more comfortable talking about
Mm.
their hair loss and their concerns with it, and just the one on one and not having the audience, especially being in a small town and everyone knows everybody. They started opening up more once I was in the private suite space.
So you feel like
So,
really within the last 6 years is when that kind of took off. Cool.
yeah,
Okay. And then you said you
definitely.
started doing some research because you weren't liking what you were finding.
Yes, and I had had COVID myself, so I suffered from some COVID hair loss.
Mm-hmm.
Not tremendously, but enough that was affecting me. And I wanted some coverage. And I said, oh, this is a perfect opportunity for me to try and find a better option for some of my clients also. So I did some research and tried a few different ones, and some again weren't that great. And I found one that I was pretty happy with. I colored it and wore it for almost a year before I told any of my clients that I
Wow.
was wearing one,
Wow.
just to see if anybody would pick up on it.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then how did you decide to finally start sharing that with people? So while you were wearing it, were like, it started with a couple clients, but like, how did that become? When did you start marketing it? When were people finding you for this? How did that transition take place?
I mean, I definitely started out the ones that I knew I had already helped, and they we didn't love their solutions that they had already. I went to them first and was
Yeah.
like, "Look, this is what I've been doing. This
I've
is what
got a
I've been
better
wearing.
source now. Yeah.
And would you be willing to try this? I think it would be a better option for you."
Yeah.
And then it just, built from there. Once word got around that I was offering this to these limited clients, they tried to spread the word without letting it be known that they were wearing one though.
Totally. I do think that's important to talk about. And we have specialty workshop coming up this summer where Emily will be part of it, and we'll talk more about this as well. But I vividly remember our onboarding call when you joined Soul Tribe and you explaining to me that marketing this service is tricky because people don't love to be camera facing. It's a very vulnerable, private thing, you know, like you're helping them in private. So it's interesting. I mean, I'm not surprised to hear you say that they would spread the word, but not super loudly. I would say, how many clients do you have now? What percentage of your clients would you say are hair loss clients now?
It's growing now that word is getting around. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not just for hair loss.
Yeah.
So for just hair loss is a small percentage, but the amount of people that I've been able to help with the pieces,
Enhancements, then, hair enhancements, let's say.
yes, I would say is 25% of my business right now.
Awesome. Awesome. Love
As
that.
far as in my chair, and then I've stretched out to help
Mm-hmm.
others.
Yeah. All right, so maybe we should start to transition into that. I was saving my story because I knew we were going to transition into Stay Hair Solutions. So we were having these conversations on Soul Tribe calls. Like I said, Emily would talk about anything from it's hard to get, it's hard to get my clients to take pictures of their before and after because they're self-conscious. They don't want to show that, all the way to, I remember when you were trying different sources and different suppliers and you were playing with different toppers and different things. And I remember I ordered my client Nikki at the time a topper. I won't say what brand it's from, but it's like a well-known brand. So I thought it was a safe bet. And I was like, okay, let me give it a try. Some people that I follow kind of are into all of these things. Let me give it a try. And we've had this conversation. You know this story, Emily. I probably could have made it work. I probably could have color matched it better. I probably could have tried to make this work for Nikki. But I remember she spent like, I don't know, $700, $800, $900. She spent a good amount of money. Bless Nikki. She's one of my favorite clients. And I put it on her head and it looked so ridiculous. I mean, it literally, well, one, she has really blonde hair. Like I do micro baby lights and I have been for years. So I got her a very blonde one, but I do highlights. I don't do a bleach and tone. So she does have some dimension in her scalp. And I set this on her head and it was like bright blonde, kind of yellow blonde, honestly. And it just looked like she was wearing a hair hat. Like it just looked like there was a hat on her head or like a piece of paper balancing on her head with bright yellow hair on it. Like it looked so fucking ridiculous. And Nikki's so sweet. And she's like, it's okay. I'll make it work. Like, it's fine. And I'm like, hell no, you will not. Like, I am not letting you leave with this. Thank goodness the company had a great refund policy. So I was able to return it, get a refund, because then we were torn though. I was like, should I try to smudge root this? But then I'm like, how is the actual fabric of the topper going to behave? Because once I touch color to it, then I can't return it anymore and Nikki can't get her $700 back. And it looked so bad the moment I put it on her head that I was like, I don't even want to cut this. I don't want to touch it. There's no way we're going to make this look good to the point where you're going to wear it. Like there's no possible way. So I instantly returned it. I remember telling Emily about this. And then she was telling me about, these other ones she's tried. There's lace fronts, there's bigger ones, there's smaller ones, there's more breathable ones. She's been color matching. Why don't we talk a little bit too about color matching? Because I obviously wanted to help my client Nikki. There would probably be some more clients that I have as well. I serve a very limited clientele now, and I want to be able to serve people in that way. But also, like, I'm busy. I'm running Soul Tribe. I'm not trying to get into hair loss solutions. I'm not trying to perfect my skill with coloring these pieces that you've explained to me you do not translate like biological hair. You have to color them very different. And so I'm over here like, well, I want to provide Nikki a solution, but like I don't really have the time, energy, education to get you the perfect solution. So I remember talking about this on multiple Soul Tribe calls. We would have this conversation. So why don't you explain a little bit what you learned and why you feel, I guess, more qualified, or how I've now come to you as the person that knows what they're doing with this. Explain a little bit biological hair to these enhancement pieces and what you've learned over the years.
The pieces that I deal with are human hair, 100%
Mm-hmm.
human hair. So there's also synthetic out there and like a half and half blend. So all of them would take differently. But the 100% human hair ones I like the best because they act like your hair. You can
Mm-hmm.
curl them, you can flat
Wash
iron them,
them.
you can put
Yeah.
heat to them, wash them. just what everybody's used to doing to
Mhm.
their own hair, they can do to these. So I went with 100% human hair, and I'm like, oh, well, it's human hair. It must color exactly like the client's hair
Yeah.
that I've been
Well, I use
doing
the
for
exact same formula.
22
Yeah.
years. And I could not have been more wrong. It
Yeah.
doesn't come out anything like that, that there's no heat source.
Yeah.
Like, clients have their head, they have a lot of heat from their head. Even putting a processor on it, it took completely different
Mm.
tone-wise, completely different level-wise, and kinda learned that the hard way.
Yeah, had to waste a
Um,
lot of pieces to
yeah,
learn that. Yeah.
you can't really lighten them once you've darkened them.
Mhm.
It's not like bio hair in that manner.
Yeah.
So,
And do you think that's
yeah.
a mix of, and I'm not an extension specialist, so I have very limited education on this. Do you think that's a mix of how they treat it? Obviously, you said there's no heat source, but it's also a mix of different types of hair too, right?
Ex Yeah, yeah, it's
Yeah.
like taking 10 different clients and taking a piece from each of them and trying to make them all behave the
And
same.
also
You have
treating
different
them with these
starting.
crazy ass chemicals and then trying to color, it just doesn't work like that. I know I had someone in Jumpstart a few months ago. Her name's Julia, and she's really into the hair loss world. She was doing single source ponytail K-tip extensions. I thought that was really interesting, where she has found a connection from out of China, I believe, where she gets single source ponytail. So it's all from the same person's head, hasn't been chemically treated. It is like very virgin, but it's like the most expensive option. I think she's charging like 6 grand for a set of K-tips. So I think that's an option in the, hair loss, hair extension world. That's why I want to just host this conversation to talk more about these things, because there's so much happening behind the scenes and underground that like people don't know about. All the while, I'm loving coaching Emily, hearing her learn about all this. Carissa also would play around with her piece that she got, and I know you have said like you've done some, you've ruined them, you've had to get rid of them, and so I all the while I would tell my client Nikki, who just loves this shit. She's so supportive of Soul Tribe. She has always just been like, she loves all of it. So I would tell her, I have this girl in Soul Tribe who's learning much more about these toppers and about these enhancements and these solutions. I still don't really know a lot about it, but she's learning some cool things. There's these other brands we could try. There's this whatever. And Nikki's always like down to clown. She's down to do whatever. But I didn't feel confident until I'll say we had like your big magic moment where you decided you wanted to start truly offering this to people. And then as soon as that happened, I was like, okay, let's give this a try. And I will say my experience was like flawless, Emily. I am a huge fan of fast, messy action. It was easy, seamless, perfect, zero hiccups, zero anything. I don't want to set that expectation for everyone because this is a newer business idea, but like you really have outdone yourself with putting this together. So let's explain a little bit about what Stay Hair Solutions is. I don't know if you want to take this over, if you want me to tell my perspective from when we were on the call and we started talking about why don't you offer this to other people, not just your clients.
Yeah, I can get into it.
Okay.
Yeah, we were having a discussion, and you're like, you could offer this to so many other people because, like you said, you don't have the time or energy or even desire to get into
Yeah.
hair loss solutions for clients, but you
Yeah.
also want to still help your client.
Yeah. I know they have this pain
And
point.
yes, so I can provide, I've done the education, I've done the trial and error and the resourcing, and we can both benefit. I can do all the legwork for you while you can still retail and make a little money on your end, as well as help your clients.
Yep.
And they have your trust. They've been with you
Mhm.
for all these years and they still remain with you. I just kind of bridge the gap there for you.
Yeah. And I remember that same Soul Tribe call, and Amanda is in Emily's group as well. And she's like, yeah, my mom would probably like that. And all of us were in the group and we were like, we definitely have a list of clients just in this room right now that would want to do this. Like, this really could be something. And I remember I was asking you about margin. Sorry, I just love the business side of it. So I have to talk about this. And I was asking you, like, what do you get it at wholesale cost for? Then you can obviously mark it up to your clients. You custom color it. There needs to be some margin there for you to obviously make money, but there was still room for what these typically go for on the market, like a good high quality topper or enhancement piece, what market value is that you can buy from any other brand. There was still room in that margin. And I'm like, Emily, this is a no-brainer. You get the piece, you do the work, you mark it up to pay your portion, you sell it to the stylist at this. There's still room for them to mark it up at market rate where they're paying a comparable rate, but it is now custom colored to their exact formula. Your professional hairstylist along the way has been guiding this, talking with another professional, holding your hand, guiding you all the way. And we didn't need to do any revisions, but you're open to revisions if you get the piece and it doesn't match. So tell a little bit about that part as well.
Yeah, I when I first started, all of these companies had little, 3-inch swatches, and you got to try and match it to clients' heads, and it's really hard to do with a small swatch. And then you never mind, almost
Sorry, jumping in.
everybody.
Nearly impossible. That's why I got that bright blonde one for Nikki, because down here that was the color of her hair, but at her scalp, no way.
Yes.
Yeah.
And 20 years ago, that might have been an option because so many people were just solid color, but everybody gets a custom color now. Everyone's getting a few baby lights or balayage here and different pieces. And so we can, because I speak stylist, I can speak to you and say, all right, you've been doing this placement for all these years and you've been using this formula on this client to
Yeah.
get this result. And we speak the same language. We can understand each other's color formulas and placements and actually get the result that we want instead of just the result of a 3-inch swatch that maybe will match a piece of their hair and not everything.
Okay, so yeah, you do revisions. I agree about that little 3-inch swatch. There's no possible way. Like you said, everything is custom. So, just another example, my client, Nikki, like I said, I do highlights to her. I very rarely do low lights. Sometimes I will, but it's her natural color. She has a little bit of gray. Her natural is probably a level 7 ashy, and then I tone her with different toners. And so I just explained to Emily what her formula is, what I typically do. I sent her pictures, videos. She had me measure Nikki's head, how much of the piece, how much coverage she wanted, the length. She has bangs, so the length from her forehead to, that was the measurement you had me take, right? And then to her the ends and her length. And again, I feel like it was, I don't want to put these high of expectations on you. I thought for sure we were going to have to go back and forth a little bit. I got this piece as soon as I pulled it out in the mail, which also Emily sends it in like the cutest box. I chose to add all the bells and whistles. I got Nikki the cork head. I got all the extra things. You put so much attention to detail into it. But when I pulled the piece out and I looked at it, I was like, that's literally the back of Nikki's head. Like, I was shocked at how well you did the color match. And you told me the color formula that I told you is nowhere, it's not what you use. You use an entirely different formula that if I would hear it as a stylist, I would be like, what the fuck? That's not what you would use. But that's how you've learned that this processed hair, that's how you need to formulate, right?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, that would make my life a lot easier if I
I
could
know,
just
no
take
kidding.
this formula and put it on the head.
Yeah,
But I would get a completely no different than if you take Nikki's formula and you put it on
true,
Joanne's head,
true.
you'll get a completely different end result. It's the same exact thing with these pieces.
Yeah.
I've just learned through some classes that I've taken and trial and error, that it actually is going to behave this way if I do this and behave that way if I do that. So I need to do this formula in order to
Instead.
compensate for those. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, I was blown away by how spot on. And I ended up going with a lace front option. And I was very happy that we did that. Nikki has bangs. But what I really personally didn't like, and I'm sure your pieces are way better that have the stitching, but it just looked to me so unnatural right when it laid here. So she has bangs. We went with a lace front and it looked so good. I will have to insert pictures or something or put something in the show notes so that you guys can see how great it looked. And then now Nikki has this. And like I said, it was very comparable to what she was going to pay if we got it anywhere else. It was a win-win-win-win-win for everybody, for me, for Emily, for Nikki, for everyone. And for her, it was a no-brainer because this piece will last her quite literally forever, right? I mean, I feel like even more so than extension hair because they don't wear it all the time. It's not attached to their head. They can take it off for washing. It holds a style. Any other pieces, obviously I'm not specialized in this in the same way you are. Any other things that you think stylists should know or even their clients should know about hair enhancements and what makes them like special and unique?
They can just be used for such a variety. Most people automatically, their brain goes to hair loss and
Yeah.
coverage and trying to overcome that challenge, but it can also be used if you want to grow out your gray, everyone's gray blending right now, and they're
Brilliant.
not sure what they want to do with it. But instead of walking around with roots, any color, but especially gray,
Mhm.
you can put this on and your hair is looks done while you're growing it out.
Yeah,
Or if you want to try highlights, you've always wanted to, most of them want like the lightest, brightest blonde that they can, and some their just hair health can't handle that.
totally.
So you can put that in the hairpiece and you can wear
Mhm.
your highlights and still have the health
Or
of
if you
your
wanna try
hair.
bangs too,
Or
that's
if you want
another
to
great
try
one.
bangs or even a completely different style. Like
Yeah.
Amanda's mom has always worn short hair and that's all that it's been able to do, and kind
Mhm.
of went with more, we tried like a bob style for her.
Love.
Just her hair would never get to that point to be thick enough, volume enough, or even just get to the length that she wanted, and she was able to accomplish that with the piece.
That is incredible. So, you guys have probably heard me talk about this on the podcast, but if you're new or you haven't heard this yet, I came up with an idea called Stylist Soul Tribe Marketplace. It's been over a year now, right? I think. And you just joined Marketplace. You were not on the first round.
Correct.
So I launched Marketplace probably a year and a half ago at this point, I'm thinking. And when it launched, this was when Emily was kind of talking about this. This was not a full reality quite yet. And another thing I want to say about you, Emily, is when this idea came and you were like, okay, I'm actually going to do this, you took it really serious. You were like, I'm going to properly set up the right online store. I'm going to properly have all my flows and pieces together. You provide the stylist and the client with all of the information that they need. So everything is kind of set up and ready to go. So just back in January, that's when you joined Marketplace, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so just back in January, we put Emily's Stay Hair Solutions on Marketplace so that other members of Soul Tribe could use this for their clients as well. And we just had Emily's Soul Tribe call not that long ago, and she shared her win was that she already hit her annual goal of how many pieces she wanted to sell. And it is May 6th right now. It was early May when we read that goal that was already hit. So not even halfway through the year, and she already hit that goal. So her tribe was really pushing her to raise that goal and to dream a little bit bigger. So she has raised the goal, and I know what the number is, but I was like, what a perfect time for you to come on the podcast. Let's spread the word. Let's tell people about this option that you have, the solution that you have for people. So I wanted to have Emily on and spread the word and share with everybody. And we can put your website in the show notes so that if people want to reach out to you about their clients and about any hair enhancement needs that they may have, because correct me if I'm wrong, you have toppers of all kinds, right? What other options do you have?
Just toppers
Just
currently.
toppers. Okay. I was pretty sure that was the case, but I wanted to be sure. But different sizes. So there's
Yes.
more full coverage, less full coverage, lace front, not lace front, all custom color, different lengths. And if you have clients, I just encourage anybody listening, think through your client list. If there are some people that you think would enjoy this and this could be a good fit for them, quite literally all the work is done for you. You are just the hero that saves their day by connecting Emily to them, and it's all done through you. You get to choose your markup rate, you get to choose how much profit stays in your pocket, but it is a no-brainer, and I can't believe other people haven't been doing this before you. And that's why I call it big magic, because it's just like a duh, this is so needed.
Yeah, it took me a little encouraging, but yeah, I want to usually make sure everything is lined up just so, and you're encouraging me to just do it.
Yeah, you're
And
gonna
sometimes
learn
that's,
so much as you go.
yeah, sometimes you just need to jump in and learn as you go, and it's been great. Like you said, I already reached my yearly goal, and we're
Yeah.
gonna we're gonna double that, and then some. And if you have some clients that you think maybe this could be a solution for them and you're just not really sure where to start, I have resources to get that conversation started with the clients and help walk you through what to say, whether that's in a newsletter or an email or a social media post or even in your chair. I have resources for all of that. So you can reach out on the website and I can walk you through it.
Perfect. Amazing. Thank you for coming on, Emily. I know you were nervous to come be on the podcast. And I know there's even a nerve-wracking with something new to put it out there. You're like, gosh, I want this to take off, but not too fast because I don't know if I can handle all of that. But I think you've gotten quite a few good reps under your belt where you have tested, pressure tested all of your systems. And I think you're ready to share this with the industry. So it is an honor to have you on and share it with my audience. And I know that we're just getting started here. So yeah, if you guys want to check out Stay Hair Solutions, I will have everything linked in the show notes. I'll have Emily's Instagram, I'll have her website, and I would highly recommend reaching out because this, like I said, it was such a win for my client and I looked like the hero in it, and I quite literally did nothing but made a little bit of money. It was just so easy, such a no-brainer, and so I'm happy to shout this from the rooftop. So thanks for coming on, Emily. Anything else you feel like we didn't cover that you feel like we need to touch on?
No, thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to help more stylists help people. They don't have to do any of the work.
Yep, I know. It's awesome. It really is awesome. Okay, thank you guys so much for listening. Like I said, check out the show notes for everything that we talked about, and I will talk to you all on the next podcast episode. Bye.